So now let's talk about the weekend and the story that evolved the entire week. We're going to talk about the red card for Miles Lewis-Skelly, then the reaction to the red card, and then the reaction to the reaction. It's been a great week for Arsenal fans, hasn't it?
It's been a great week for the media.
Yeah.
They've had all the engagement that they need. Everyone's having their say. It's such an interesting moment because I think that football had its own context around it, and that decision looked out of step with the game. There was barely any fouls in the game before that foul. It wasn't a game you needed to manage by the referee. You have a foul just outside of their box, and you manage to find a red card for it. You've got to be looking for that, for me. And then to see VAR double down on it, it just creates something that may not be there, but it feels like it's there. You know, the Michael Oliver situation, whether the people in the comments are going to say we're deluded Arsenal fans and we shouldn't be worried about these sort of things. But honestly, when Michael Oliver got that game, how many of us felt something could happen here? Yeah. We all felt it, right? So that shouldn't be the case for many, many reasons. But he did it again. He found something unique. He set a precedent, and the refereeing organisation then doubled down on him. There was a moment there when they could have just said, you know what, we made a mistake, and let's just own it. But they decided to double down there, and that just creates a them and us. And that them and us is not healthy for the game. You know, we're Arsenal people, right? But we're football people as well, right? It's not healthy for the game that there's so much anger towards an organisation who also love the game, by the way, referees do, and we can't play without them. And I think they've misread the room from a PR perspective, and I think they got it completely wrong.
Do you know, for me, it's one of the worst decisions because some people have made that, is it the worst decision, is not. When I look at the game as a whole, and Clive was touching on it there, I think one of the reasons why I couldn't get my head around the decision, I mean, it wasn't a red card, it's a yellow card, it's cynical, hands up, is that in the same game, Gomez's challenge is a straight red, is awful. Like, it's an awful challenge. It's high, it's reckless, it could have done some serious injury, right? But the fact that they gave a second yellow for that, that's where my head was flying all over the place, because I was like, well, hold on, how is Miles Lewis-Skelly, who's just cynical, tripped someone, is a straight red, but someone is, I wouldn't say career-threatening, but it's dangerous challenge. It's only a yellow. That's where my head, and that's why I had to put the two situations not in isolation, together, because Michael Oliver's the same referee and has managed to come with two completely separate incidents where he's gotten, for me, the wrong way round. So, I mean, justice did prevail. He's obviously not been suspended. They've overturned that now, and he's available to play at the weekend. But I just think that's where referees don't help themselves as well. And I do think there is something in the fact that he's a senior referee, and I think it was Darren English who's up at the PA at Stockley Park, didn't want to overturn it because it's an uncomfortable situation for him, because how do you overturn someone who's your superior, if that makes sense, like your superior? How can he turn around and go, no, I think you've made a mistake? He's obviously going to back him.
Well, this is why it has to change. Yeah. For me, VAR, and I've said this actually from the outset, there should be specialist VAR team that aren't associated with the refereeing team. For that reason, they've got to detach themselves. Because for me, Darren England makes... his mistake is worse than Michael Oliver's. Michael Oliver's rash. And Clive says he's looking for it. Who knows? But it's a bad call. Darren England is the one that can see all the replays we can see. And I would say that 98% of people, at least, would have said that was never, ever, ever a red card. So for Darren England to be one of that 2% just doesn't make sense to me. You have to think that he was a little bit worried about overruling the senior ref in this country, Michael Oliver, and that's not a healthy situation. I just think, let's be honest as well, it also, this reinforces the debate around VAR, full stop. Should it be stripped back a lot or go altogether? My view is that football would be better without it. Because without VAR, you're screaming that there's an injustice there, but you're far less angry. Yeah. Far less angry than you are when you've had Darren England's eyes on it and he's just doubled down on it. So, yeah, for me, it's just a reminder of the problems that VAR bring.
Do you know, I just wonder as well, Adrian, with Darren England, if in that situation there, because Michael Oliver is his superior, does he go to the monitor looking for something, for a reason to agree with the decision, rather than going into it kind of level-headed, thinking, right, let me take kind of Michael Oliver's decision out of it. Let me go in it my own two eyes and go, right, what do I feel? I almost feel like he's going into it subjectively looking for a reason to agree with Michael Oliver rather than going there clear-headed thinking, I'm going to come to my own decision. It's almost, I won't say he's forced in one direction, but it's certainly not level. He's certainly going there caution on the side of, let me agree with Michael Oliver rather than going, I need to take his decision out of it.
Clive?
Well,
I've got to...
For me, it's highlighted the organisational cultural issues at the PGMOL. I'm sorry, it has. It's revealed them in a way which they didn't need to be revealed. I think we are all reasonable people, apart from when it involves our own club, right? But we accept we have biases. We do. We have biases. But for me, you have an opportunity and they didn't take it. Organisationally, the culture of that refereeing organisation is not what it could be and what it should be. They should be looking at ways to come closer to the game, to really engage with people, to humanise themselves, not to make themselves feel elitist, that they can never be wrong. We can all be wrong. If you watch any game of football that these two played in, I'm sure their first touches were a little bit off on occasion, right? and that's the way it goes. We're all wrong. When we're analysing games, we get things wrong. We don't emphasise something properly enough. Just humanise themselves. You know, so now we've got a situation where there are tens of millions of Arsenal fans around the world feeling upset about this decision. Way more upset than they should be. You know, and Adrian's absolutely right. The technology's there to support the referee, not to protect him. And that's where it's wrong. And so if you're not going to use it appropriately, then either reduce it or remove it, and let's have a human game again.
So speaking of Arsenal fans, Clive, I'm going to hand this one to you. Gary Neville told Jamie Carragher on a podcast that the Arsenal fans are acting entitled. Do you think we're being gaslit?
So we are, and we have to accept it. And no one cares about our feelings, right? So let's just get that. Let's just get that out there, right? So I think what's upset our Northwestern media friends is the whole world was upset. Arsenal Football Club barely said a word, by the way. The player has barely said a word. They've let everything happen around them. They haven't said a word. So this is not on us. This is on everybody else and their reaction to it. So now they are reacting to the reacting, Talia. And I think that is an issue. So at the moment, we are now got this label that we are strange about how we look at referee decision. I'm hopeful that Miles doesn't have a label, that somebody has to carry that red card with him. He's only had 6 or so starts, Adrian, so I think, why has he got that label for just tripping somebody up, you know? And so it's really unfair on that side of things. In this case, and by the way, in the past, we have been vociferous. In this case, we haven't said a word as a club. So why are we wearing this? They've made a mistake. The reaction has been global, not just an Arsenal reaction. And now we have this on our plate, which I think is really unfair.
Yeah. What should be the discussion point moving forward, rather than how Arsenal fans are reacting, etc., is 98% of football fans throughout the world, people that love the game, do not think that is anywhere close to being a red card. Yet the PGMOL, the refs in this country, think it is. That's the problem. So what they should be doing is thinking about the people, because they don't own the game. We all own the game. It's our game. And if 98% of people think that that's never, ever a red card, they need to take that on board, understand it, talk to people about it, and make sure that they never give another red card for something like that again, rather than screaming that they're right, we're wrong.
Do you think we'd see another red card for that, something like that again?
I think it'd take a brave ref to give it, given the fallout. But look, there's a number of instances we've seen with Arsenal, you know, this season, and obviously with Oliver previously with the Martinelli double yellow at Molineux a couple of years ago. You know, we've never seen anything like that since either, have we? So it's, you know, Arsenal have been unfortunate this season, but I don't think this is about Arsenal. I think this is about the standard of refereeing and the issues between the referees and the VAR controllers. You know, it's got to be better.
Yeah, I can't stop thinking about it.
I can just see his brain ticking the whole time.
It's really frustrating. We had a great away win at the weekend and I barely thought about it. You know, I barely thought about it. And at the moment, what's happening in the world, right? So Liverpool at the top of the league. Everyone thinks Arsenal are moaning because we're not at the top of the league. Now City have had an indifferent season. For me, and for many Arsenal fans, there are 4 red cards this year. I could debate every single one of them, easily. And they've cost us real points. We'd be a lot closer. Am I frustrated with that? I am. Is it really making me angry? No, it's making me concerned that we seem to be the ones that seem to be setting the precedence with some of these red cards. And I just feel it's really, really strange. And so the data's there on these referees. The data's there. You go look at it if you want to. Is the data there when it comes to why do we choose certain referees for certain games? What is the process to choose a referee for a game? How transparent is that? When people say Michael Ober's our best referee, how do we know that? Where are the measures? Is he the most experienced referee? Yes, he is. He's in the elite section. Why is he there? What has happened in recent games? You can't just rock up to places and then implant yourself on a game and expect to walk away scot-free. It's just not right. There are so many people invested within the club and within the watching world about what happens on the pitch. There needs to be a lot more thought before you reduce a team to 10 men for just minor infractions.
I feel like that just needs a mic drop.
Pause.
Infuriated.
Yeah.
10 men mean something in the modern game now.
Yeah.
Coaches are too good.
Yeah, there needs to be a real... There should be less of a... I don't know how to phrase it. Getting sent off, it's got to be a higher bar than what we've seen at times this season.
So then let's just hope we don't have to talk about referees and red cards again for the rest of this season.